All right. So last class we have completed up to WebLogic server, setting up the WebLogic server environments in two methods, right? One is in console mode and second one is in GUI mode. And third method we will able to see that silent mode installation. So when we will go with the silent mode installation and why it may have the importance. So then after that, let's we see how we are going to be installing on the 64-bit installer files or 64-bit operating system. Then after that, how to configure the domain. That part we will able to see. Okay. See third mode, silent mode installation. What is the silent mode installation and when we are going to be prefer the silent mode installation? See in the silent mode installation, what we can able to do, it is a non-interactive method. So what we need to do, all the mandatory parameters we'll able to give in the we'll able to give in one file that is called build.xml file. We need to be create the silent.xml file. We need to create the silent.xml file. So in that we are going to be define all the mandatory parameters to create the WebLogic server, WebLogic server. So it is a non-interactive method. Once you specify all parameters in the silent.xml file, then after that you can issue the command. Automatically it is going to be installs. It won't ask any parameters. So that is what silent mode installation. So generally, when we will go with the silent mode installation, important entry question. There are two conditions which we may have to go with the silent mode installation. So one is what situation one. So whenever the WebLogic server could be installed or implemented in the only in a homogeneous environment. In the sense, whenever you are upgrading from higher version to higher version, so within that, so we are going to be that time during that case we'll use the silent mode installation. And second one, so whenever we are moving the huge project from one physical location to another physical location, so where applications must have the similar environment as the production environment had. So in that case, so we will go with the silent mode installation. So these are the two situations. So we will go with the silent mode installation. Clear, right? As practical, what we can able to do, initially we will able to prepare the silent.xml file, and later we need to be issue the command to install the silent mode installation. In the sense, it won't ask any parameters automatically, which is going to be installed silently in the background. So that is about the silent mode installation and purpose of the silent mode installation. I just went over there in the Linux console. So what I need to do here, so I just check about that, silent.xml file. So this we need to be prepare it. So open it. So VA space, if you does not have first time means you can create like this, VA space silent.xml file. Press I, BA installer input fields data value, which means what are the two are the mandatory parameters while you're installing the WebLogic server. One is the middleware home, where you want to install the WebLogic server, alright? Where you want to install the WebLogic server. So that is one method, that is one important one. Just wait. Where you want to install the, just getting that silent.xml file. So VA space silent.xml file. So in that two are the mandatory. Press I first middleware home. So home Linux Oracle. So the silent middleware home. Just like I gave you, con home, and as well as yesterday we have installed the HCL home. Similarly like that, silent home. Whatever the home you want, you will be able to give. But whatever you gave in the middleware home and WebLogic server home should be the similar here. The path. And here also silent home and WebLogic server 10.3. 10.3. See how I can able to come to know WebLogic server 10.3. Just go to over there and you can able to check insert which version you are installing. Okay, WebLogic server 10.3. Right. So we completed 10.3. Then after that, what input full closed and BA installer closed. Press escape, save and exit. So next what I need to do, issue the command like this. Dot slash WLS 1036 hyphen mode equal to silent underscore XML equal to where we are getting that silent.xml file. Under the desktop, silent.xml file. So in the sense, if you want to track any log information, which means while you are installing that, if you will get any mistakes or any errors which are going to be recording to that, this log file. So press, just wait. I need to give hyphen here. Right. So it is going to be extracting and taking the parameters, in like that internally only. It is going to be installed completely, right? It won't ask any parameters. Silently, it is going to be installed. It will take some time. So installation in a progress, and once it is complete, then you will get the Linux prompt. I told you, right? When we will go with the silent mode installation, there are two situations we had, right? Between, in the sense, difference in the sense, the process which is the common, whatever the directives you will get while you are installing the console mode, and this method also you will get. But what you have to do here, you are not entering any parameters here. Silently, it is going to be installed. Whatever the parameters you have to be entered, those you are already specifying in the silent.xml file. It completes, right? Yeah, you just go to that log file and you can check in the log file also. So we have specified the log file, right? And you just go to over there, and you can check in the log file also whether the installation was successful or not. So go to down, see here the installation was successful, right? So in this way you can able to check about the installation process whether it was successful or failure. Then after, you just go to there and you can check the directories, and what is our middleware home name? Silent home, right? Go to the silent home, see all the directories which remains the same. So earlier you went over there, HCL home yesterday we have installed. See for that, and this doesn't have any difference. Everything which is going to be installed similar like that only, but here we didn't provide any parameters. Right. So this is about, so we have done the setting of the WebLogic server environment in the OS specific installer, in the sense in the 32-bit OS. So you can come to know whether it is a 32-bit or 64-bit. You name space hyphen M. Is this 32-bit or 64-bit? Hello? Is this 32-bit or 64-bit? I'm asking question to you people. It is a 32-bit, right? Just move to over there, and I'm just moving to the 64-bit operating system. And this is how you are going to be installing the WebLogic server on the 64-bit operating system. So in the 64-bit operating system, generally we don't have the JDK which is not pre-packed, JDK to that 64-bit OS in the WebLogic server installer. So what we need to do actually, so we need to be create or install the Java first, and later we have to be install the WebLogic server. So go to over there. That command was the Java only the difference, and rest of the things it remains the same. See, which I had in that actually. So this is what actually WL server generic.jar file, irrespective of the operating system. This file which remains the same, but which doesn't pack into the JDK file. So for that, what I need to do, I need to be download the Java. I need to be install. I'm installing the Java. So which means the moment you enter that command, it is going to start the Java installation. Right. So click on next, and where you want to install the Java, you have to be provide the path, right? So under that path, you have to be install the Java, and click on next, and click on next. So it is going to start the Java installation. Once it is completed, and click on done button, which means Java installed successfully. But I need to be set the class path, right? In the sense, what I can say. Alright, what I need to do, I need to be set the class path. Where you have to do, you just copy this one and go to the following path and va space bash underscore dot under this dot space bash underscore profile, and go to here and you just copy all these things, and you just see export Java home equal to where you want to install the Java home, and as well as the Java path, export the path. You have to add these two lines under this path. Okay, let's save and exit, and you just exit and you can log in again, execute the bash underscore profile. Okay, dot space dot bash underscore profile, see which is executed, which is space Java. You get the Java, right? Java space hyphen version, and you will get the Java. So like that, you can able to install the Java and set the class path. So then after that, what I need to do, I need to be install the WebLogic server in a 64-bit operating system. For that, I need to be download the software, which I downloaded already, this one. So the syntax was Java space hyphen jar and WLS 1036. This is only the different, and rest of the things which is common. Okay, installing the Java and setting up the class first. Then after this command which remains the same, and rest of the things with everything same only, right? Hyphen log equal to slash home slash linux. Where you want to install or how you can able to track that. 11g GUI.log. Okay, 11g generic, right? So the moment I enter, so it has going to be extracting and start. Then the moment it has going to be starts, the quite common the process. Okay, so it doesn't changes. So from this, whatever the method here, just only it has going to be changes the method, right? And only this Java installation and this command which are going to be changes, and rest of the things which remains the common. So after opening that, after launch that welcome screen, and it will be the same process. Whatever we have done earlier in the OS specific installer file, same thing here also. Same windows you will get, and same process you can able to follow. This is how you are going to be installing the WebLogic server in a generic package installer using the generic package installer or 64-bit operating system, or in the 64-bit operating system. It will take some time to extracting. So then after that, so let's we see how you can able to set up the domain. So before setting up the domain, what is a domain? So what is a server? What are the types of servers was there? What is admin and manager server instances? Then what are the differences between those two? We'll able to see. Okay. Still it is extracting. Still it is extracting. So after extracting that, it is going to be open the screen. And any one of the method is enough in the real time. We didn't do three methods, okay, in three methods. So any one of the method is enough to install the WebLogic server. And most of the cases we will go, console mode only, and rest of the methods depends on the requirement. Right. So you'll get the welcome screen, right? So from these, the steps which are quite common. So click on next, and you have to be choose the middleware home directory, okay? Right. So WLS home, and click on next. From here, which quite common, and you have to be, unselect the security updates because we don't have any Oracle support username and password, and click on next. Yes, yes. Generally, it is going to be open the another window, and you have to be select the checkbox. Right. Yes, I wish to be a continue, and choose the install type, whether it is maybe typical or custom. You know what is a typical and what is a custom, and click on next and review the installation products and click on next. It is going to start the installation. Clear, right? So the moment you click on the next, what will happen? And choose the products, click on the next. It is going to be, you know, this time we don't have any predefined JDKs, right? Whatever we have whatever we have installed, yeah, those it has going to, that it has going to be takes, right? Local JDK, and click on next, and you know, so it is going to be review the installation summary, and the moment you click on the next, it is going to start the installation. The steps quite common, same, which doesn't change anything. Okay. The moment you click on the next, it is going to start the installation. So in this way, you can able to install the WebLogic server on the 64-bit operating system. I don't want to click on the next because there's a, you know, wastage of memory. Okay, right. So in this way, you can able to, you know, install the WebLogic server in a 32 in a 64-bit operating system. So once we will complete this one, so generally what will happen? We just move to here. See, after you install that WebLogic server, generally what will happen? It may have some directory structure, right? Under that, go to over there. See, this one we have installed yesterday. So there are some of the homes which are available actually. So whenever I will tell you, now we are going to be discussing about the middleware home directory structure and WebLogic server home directory structure. So middleware home, whenever I will tell you go to the middleware home means, no. So up to here you will go, okay. Where did you install the, you know, WebLogic server? Up to that we can call it as a middleware home, okay. So up to we can call it as a middleware home. So whenever I will tell you go to the middleware home means go to this path. And then after that, under that you may have the following directories actually. Whenever you install the WebLogic server, all these directories which are going to be created, right? So what it indicates is directory. Let's we discuss the directory structure of the middleware home. So generally, what is the middleware home directory? Directory structure. So JDK version, the first one. Generally, this directory which contains the software regarding for the JDK. Generally, those are going to be required to compile and as well as debugging the Java applications. So JRocket version, generally this is also contains the JRocket JDK which is installed with the software, and you know, so generally this is going to be provides the JRE, which is nothing but JDK software for compiling and debugging the Java applications. Logs directory, generally this contains the history of the which has the information about the installation and uninstallation for the middleware home directory. And modules directory, generally this directory contains the modules which are installed in the home directory. Example, ant. And the utils directory which contains the additional directories, just like, you know, how to uninstall the WebLogic server from the, you know, from the operating system or from the Linux or from the Windows, all the scripts, and as well as how to apply and maintain the patches. So those directories which are useful directories which are available under there, go to that utils. Under this you may have the uninstall for uninstalling, and go to that BSU, and you may have the patch applying, right? BSU datasets for applying and maintaining the patches. These two directories which are available under the UTLA directories, okay. So then after that, other directories which are available here. So WL server home, so WebLogic server home directory, coherence home directory, dot home, generally which contains the information about the middleware home directory. OCM dot resp, generally it is the response file which contains the information about the Oracle configuration manager installation. And registry.xml file, generally which contains a persisted record of all WebLogic server installed on the target system. Whatever you install, everything it could be in a .xml file, okay. And you know, so registry data also which contains the same thing, whatever it contains by the whatever it holds by the registry.xml, but it should be in an encrypted format. And domain registry.xml, generally how many domains you are going to be created, so that those domains generally which are currently which are going to be registered with this WebLogic server installation. Clear, right? This is about the WebLogic middleware home directory, okay. Under this middleware home you may have the all following directories. Clear? So right, see, all directory structure you can understand, right, under the middleware home. So go to here, up to here we can call it as a WebLogic server home. Under this you may have the following directories. First one, common directory. So generally go to the common directory. In this we may have the following directories. Bin, generally which contain whenever you can find the bin directory, generally which contains the all executable scripts. And deployable library means whenever you install the WebLogic server, some of the libraries which are going to be stored under this deployable library. See WebLogic server 11G, which we may have certified by the one default database called Derby database regarding that information which is going to be stored under the Derby. And lib directory, all libraries which are going to be available under the lib directory regarding the default, and this is called node manager home, which contains the node manager related files. Templates, generally whenever you will go to that templates directory, and you may have the defaults templates, actually all the default templates which are available here. And important interview question, so for creating the domain, what is the default template? wls.jar file. If it is available under this path, then only we can able to create the domain, else we cannot create. Interview question, what is the default template for creating the domain? wls.jar. So templates directory generally which contains all the default templates. So then after that, you may have the WLST, which contains some WLST scripts, clear, right, under the common directory. So next you will go to that other one called, other directory called server. So go to the server directory, remaining are not important. Go to the server directory, and in that you may have the bin directory. Go to that, WS server bin, generally which contains the two scripts actually. One is executing the how to set up the, class path, and second one how to install the how to start the node manager actually. Those two scripts which are available under the bin directory. So then after that you may have the generally these are database related files and lib directory, all common libraries which are available under this directory. So in some interview they'll ask some questions. Can you list some of the jar files which are available in the WebLogic? You can pick from here, okay? Some jar files. There is another question. So then after that you may have the native and as well as the local. These are native generally and the plugins. So these plugin directory generally which contains about the Apache plugins to whenever you want to install and integrating with the WebLogic server, that will come later actually, okay? That regarding plugins which are available under the plugins directory. So then after that other one we may have called important called uninstall. So either you can uninstall from the middleware home, otherwise WebLogic server home also. It calls the same script only. So whenever you want to uninstall from the WebLogic server uninstallation, okay? So then after that you can remove all the directories. In this way you can uninstall the WebLogic server. So clear, right? So under the WL home we may have the common we have seen, server we have seen, and uninstall we have seen, and rest of the things which are not required. This is about the WL server home directory, right? So then after that, to set up the WebLogic server domain, actually before let's see what is the domain actually. See, a domain is nothing but logically it is going to be grouping all the WebLogic server instances, right? All the WebLogic server resources that you manage as a unit, right? So generally, a domain which is going to be provides the one point of administration or a single point of administration. Understood? So generally, generally domains are going to be logically separated. If you are supporting the dev environment, dev domain, and test domain, and production domain. For what reason it has going to be separated? For organizational divisions. See, this is the architecture of the domain actually. Some of the servers which are in a cluster and some of the servers which are not in a cluster, in the sense non-clustered servers. Understood? Your domain can be created even a single machine, and also you can distribute to the different machines for handling the different load and as well as the failover purpose, right? And why we are creating the domain? So one reason it is organizational purpose. It's nothing but for managing purpose, and applications are going to be transparent to the, or you are going to be domain is going to be transparent to the applications to the different machines, right? So example, whenever you will take any bank application, somewhere it is available, the main application, right? Main server, and still you are going to be distributing the application to the different machines, and still you are able to accessing or transferring or getting the amount from the ATM machines. Clear, right? So that is the reason we are going to be creating the domains, and that is about the domain. So generally, domain doesn't have other things actually, servers, right? So what is the server actually? Collection of WebLogic server instances. What is a server? A server is nothing but it is a runtime instance, or a server is an instance of WebLogic.server and which executes in the JVM. So what is the JVM generally? JVM is nothing but Java virtual machine, which converts machine code to that byte code, right? At runtime it is going to be do. So generally, to run the server, what are the things which required actually? Dedicated amount of RAM and dedicated machine which required to run the server. So what are the types of servers which are available in the WebLogic server? There are two types of servers which are available: administration server and manager server. What is administration server generally? An administration server is the central point of control for the domain. Okay, each domain which we may have the only one administration server, one domain, one administration server, not more than one administration server. Clear, right? Each domain which has the only one administration server. Whenever you start the admin server, in the sense obviously you are starting the domain only, right? So admin server generally it is going to be stores the configuration and logs information about the domain. So whenever you run the administration server, you can able to access the administration console. See, before 9.x version, so even admin server also you can able to set a target, right, and run those business applications. But after 9.x onwards, which is not recommended to set the admin server to the business applications, which is purely for monitoring and administrating purpose only. Clear, right? This is about the administration server. And coming to that manager server instance, any other server instance in the domain which is not admin server, we can call it as a manager server instance, right? Manager server servers which are used to run the business applications in the production environment. So whenever the manager server you can start, then regarding its configuration, it has going to be contact to the admin server. Admin server it has going to be provides the configuration about the manager server instance, right? So this is about the admin and as well as the manager server. So in the interview, they will ask question called what is the difference between the admin and manager server instance, and what are the types of servers which are available in the WebLogic server. Clear, right? So that only you can able to get in the domain architecture here in this, right? So this is about the domain introduction and the servers and manager servers and all those. So once we will complete that part, so let's we see how we can able to set up the domain. Okay. So what are the ways to configure the domain? Domain configuration. So there are following ways actually. The first one using GUI mode. Okay. Second one using console mode. Third one template based domain configuration. Right. In that A, using pack and unpack. B, domain template builder, and C, WLST. So these are the ways we have for configuring the domain, right? So one by one we'll be able to see. Hello? Somebody is asking any doubt? Right. So let's we see, for configuring the domain you have to go to the following path, okay? And this should be remain same in every machine. Maybe it has going to be changed this path, but this should be a common, okay? So under this you may have the scripts ./config.sh. So hyphen mode equal to GA, right? Hyphen log equal to /home/linux oracle, and where you want to store that log file. I'm just enter. After a few seconds, it is going to be open the or launch the welcome screen. Right. So click on next. So create a new WebLogic domain, right? Click on next. So click on next. See, there were two options which are available here. So whenever you want to create the domain, first time you can choose that one, which is already created domain. So you want to update the domain. So that time you will go with that, right? Second option. Click on next. So what is the default domain name here? base_domain. You can change it if you want. And under this path, it is going to be creates the domain, okay? By default. User_projects, this directory which are going to be created whenever you create the domain. Click on next. You have to be configure the administrator username and password. See, password should be alphanumeric. And click on next. And see, there are domain can be started in a development mode or production mode. Let's we discuss what are the difference between the development mode and production mode. Okay. See, in development mode, whenever you want in development mode, okay, there was no lock on delete button. Okay, right? Whereas in production mode, which we have, first difference. Second one, default JDK is Sun JDK, whereas in production mode, JRocket JDK. Understood? That is second difference. And third difference, in development mode, auto deploy feature is enabled, right? Whereas in production mode, disabled. This is third one. And fourth one, whenever you want to in development mode, generally, whenever start the admin server, does not require username and password. Okay, but whereas in production mode, which requires. And fifth one, in development mode, default threads are 15, whereas in production mode, $25, right? In development mode, the default log file size is 500 KB, whereas in production mode, 5000 KB. The default JDB in development mode, the default JDBC connections are 15. Okay, whereas in production mode, 25. See, whenever in development mode, whenever you use demo SSL certificates, okay, demo SSL certificates, which does not gives any warnings, whereas in production mode, which gives warnings. So these are all the differences in between the production mode and development mode. So clear, right? All these differences. Let's see if you go to over there. So if you choose the production mode, automatically which changes the JDK, JRocket, right? See, understood? See, if you doesn't like these two, if you have any other local JDK also, you can select other JDK. And for time being, I am selecting the development mode and click on next. And for configuring the admin, if you know the manager servers, you can able to select at this moment also, but at this moment doesn't require to select the manager servers and clusters. So click on next, which means if you select, that is also it is going to be displaying. Okay, click on next. You have to be configure the administrator server name, HCL domain, legend address, local host. And what is the default port number of the WebLogic server? 7001. So if you want, you can change. Okay. So if you want, you can change. No need to be keep default one also. Okay. So click on next. Sorry, HCL admin, and click on next. And you have to be configure. If you want, you can configure the manager servers also. For time being, doesn't require. Click on next and review the configuration summary and click on create button. So it is going to be created the domain in one method. Okay. Right. So click on done button. So I completed one method, and second method means console method. Console method means it is also interactive method, but it doesn't use any wizards. So it is going to be displaying on the Linux console by selecting the options. In the sense, by entering the numeric values, we can select the options and we do the installation. Okay. See, I have completed that. See, go to here. Where is that installation part? There is also, I gave you somewhere desktop. Domain installation. So you go to over there and you can able to see the log file, and it is going to be get success in a GUI mode, and this is for console and -log, and this is changes to the console mode. Okay, understood? Right. If I enter, so this time it won't get any wizards. You will get the options on the Linux console. See, you will get the welcome screen. For going next, you can type N, or complete word you can type. For getting back, you can type the previous or P, and for exiting E. See, whenever you can find any option with arrow mark, there is a default option, and option with star mark means there is a mandatory option. If you does not select any option, you just clicking on the next means it is going to take the default values. Clear, right? Click on next. See, here it is going to be displaying application table doesn't require. We need to be go on next. See, it is going to be displaying the domain home, right? Domain name by default base domain. So I'm just HR HCL Pro domain, right? I select and click on next. Under that path, it is going to be installs. Click on next. It is going to be asking to configure the administrator server. Okay, configure the administrator server username and password. Press 1, enter the username, and press 2, enter the password, and press 3, confirm the password. See, which is mismatched, right? So what I need to do, I'm just pressing the 3. I'm just entering again, right? Otherwise, you can press 2 and you can enter the new. Otherwise, if you go to the P and you can come into the next, and you can configure everything first again. Okay. Well, WebLogic similarly like that. The password could be alphanumeric. Okay. Right. So click on next. So development mode we need to be choose, right? So I'm just selecting that production mode. Click on next. So sorry. So I have configured administrator username and password, and I have selected that domain name. See a production mode. Click on next and click on next. I need to be configured the administrator, right? 1 and click on next. Provide the 1. Provide the administrator name and provide the 2 and listen address, and I'm just leaving as it is default port number only. Click on next. It is going to be start the installation. Clear, right? Two methods. Make sure you will get the domain created successfully. Understood? So in these two methods, we have completed. For going the third method, see domain generation successful. Got right? So for going the third method, actually, what is the third method? Template based domain configuration, right? So we need to be set up the class path actually. So interview question: how to set up the environment variables. So there are two methods actually. Okay, one method domain underscore home slash bin dot space set domain env dot sh, and second method wl home slash server bin dot slash set wl s env dot sh. In these two ways you can able to set, right? So then after that you can test the Java version, WebLogic version and Ant version. So go to over there and see. So first method I can able to see. Under this you have, right, set to domain wlenv.sh. So your environment has been set. Second method HCL home. I install the domain also, right? So two domains, which means two methods I have done. Go to this path and bin. Under this you will get the dot space set domain env.sh. I have entered Java space WebLogic dot version. How you get the WebLogic version? Interview question. You got, right? Java space hyphen version. How to get the Java version? Next, how to get the Ant version. So this is about after setting the class path, and you can test all the environment. So then after that, let's we see what is the domain home and what are the directories which are available under the domain home. This is called domain home. Okay. In the sense before bin we can call it as the domain. This user underscore projects was created whenever you create the domain only, right? And rest of the pieces it wasn't appear under the middleware home. Clear, right? And under this we may have the following directories actually. So what are those following directories generally? So first one, auto deploy. So auto deploy directory generally which contains or which is enabled this feature only in a development mode. See, quickly developers are going to be deploy the applications under test. They are going to be build and test their applications, right, as soon as possible. So for that reason, so with this feature was available only in a development mode, which means the moment you place the application under this, automatically which gets deployed. So that is about the auto deploy directory. And bin directory generally which contains the executable scripts regarding the admin and manager server instance for startup and shutting down. Config directory generally which contains the main configuration files under this config directory. Interview question: what is the main configuration file for the WebLogic server? Config.xml, right? So deployment related deployment will be available, and diagnostics and JDBC, JMS, node manager, security and startup. All those configuration individually which are going to be stored under those individual directories. Clear, right? This is about the config directory. And console-ext generally it has going to be stores in this directory admins console extensions, and init-info generally which contains the server initialization information, lib directory which contains the common libraries specifics to only this domain, and security generally which contains the global security files. And so what are the security files? These are the security files which contains by default whenever you create the domain which are going to be created. This is about the security. Then after that, servers. Under the server directory, how many servers you created? Every server which is available with their server name. Okay, all servers which are available under the servers directory only. Clear, right? Another important directory, pending directory, which may have pending directory generally which can be stores all the pending information, which means changes are going to be requested, not yet activated. All those changes which are available under the pending directory, the moment you click on the active changes, those are going to be persisted on the config.xml. Every configuration related information which is going to be stored under the config.xml. That is a master file. Understood? This is about the domain home directory structure. So third method is nothing but what template based domain configuration. In the sense, see, based on the existing domain, we need to be create the domain. Understood my point? Based on the existing domain, we need to be create the domain. See, assume like that, so generally I already created and success everything in a test environment. Why I need to create in a production environment again? I just install the WebLogic server. I just replicate entire domain over there, right? Instead of recreating all the services again. Understood? That is possible by using the custom domain template builders. Generally, domain template defines the full set of resources within the domain, which means it has going to be defines a domain and replicate it across the multiple projects, right? You can distribute a domain packed with the application that has been developed to run it. Understood? In the sense, including the existing and as well as custom configurations. You don't want to recreate again. You just distribute the application by using the domain configurations. Otherwise, the load is increased. You can decrease to the different machines, and you can add servers over there, right? So, hello, understood, right? Domain template based configuration. So there are methods actually. The first one, pack and unpack command, and second one using the config underscore builder data sets. So let's say go with the pack and unpack command. So generally, what is the pack command? What is the unpack command? What is the syntax? And how you will able to do that domain configuration in that. So pack is a command generally which is used to create the template or chew file. In the sense, entire domain which are going to be packed into the .jar file. Okay, that it contains the snapshot of the domain or entire domain. Okay, entire domain or subset of the domain. In the sense, whatever the domain which we created, that everything we are going to be copying into the .jar file. So in fact, what is the default template for creating the domain wls.jar, which means it contains the default settings, right? So whatever I'm preparing this time jar files, which contains my own setting, including the default settings, right? So for that, we are going to be using the pack command. So what is the syntax actually? This is the syntax. So in this, we may have the one option called manager equal to true. Generally, this option which specifies this parameter by default false. When we can make it as true, a manager server template is created that contains a minimal set of files like config.xml, serialized system ini.file, nm underscore node manager dot, which means properties file. Those files which are going to be copied and on the remote machine, and you can start over the remote machines. Manager servers you can create on the remote machine by specifying this option. Clear, right? And unpack command, generally unpack command which is used to extract the entire domain or template or chew file its own original form. Before packing how it was, after unpacking also it look like same, right? So generally unpack we will do in a different machine, not in the same machine, but here we don't have the different machine, both. That is the reason we are able to do both pack and unpack in the same machine. This is the syntax of the unpack command. So clear, right? Let's we see how we can able to do in the pack and unpack command. I'm just copying. So go to the WL server home command bin. Okay, Oracle WL HCL home, right? WL server home and com. And that is go to here. You can notice here you may have the pack and unpack. Unpack.sh, pack.sh. Do you have or not? I just enter. This is syntax actually. Pack.sh domain. Which domain you want to pack? Okay. Linux, Oracle, HCL home user files domains. What is my domain name? HCL domain. Right. Template where I need to be stored. Home Linux desktop. What is my template name? Whatever name you want, we will give you. Okay. Custom.jar. Template name is my WebLogic template. The moment I create enter, writes the default, write the existing domain, read the existing domain, and write the domain on the specified path. After writing, which is going to be stored on the specified path. Clear, right? Right, which completes. So next, what I need to do? How to unpack? So I need unpack also, which we'll do in the same mission only, but in the real time we'll do in a different mission. Unpack.sh. So template, where from which template I need to be unpacked? That is also get right. I need to be specifier. Custom.jar and domain equal to this name. Home Linux, where you want to install the domain. That path you have to be specified here. Pack, new pack domain, right? 1, 2, 3. Understood? So the moment I enter, domain is going to be created under that path. Read from the custom.jar and it is going to be creates the domain. So go to this path and check it whether the domain is created or not. Right, which completes, right? CD space, go to over there. See, domain is created, right? New pack 1234. Hello, right? So this is, using the pack and unpack command you are going to be creating. So then after that we may have the other method called domain template builder, right? Which means in GUI mode. Same thing you can able to do in the GUI mode. Go to the go to that path, and under this you may have the script called config underscore builder datasets, right? Dot slash config underscore builder datasets. The moment I enter, same process you can able to do in the GUI mode. Okay. So create a new WebLogic domain. So click on next and select the domain, which domain you want to pack. Understood? Click on next. And you have to be provided that, domain template category information about the template. Okay. So click on next. And under this path it is going to be creates that template .jar file. I'm just changing to the desktop. So click on next and click on add, click on next and click on next, add SQL scripts. We don't want to change anything, and click on next, so review the summary, and click on next and click on finish button, create button. It is going to be create, and click on done. It creates on the desktop. See here, it creates, right? So we can able to create the domain under the same path only, config.sh. I just entered. This time what will happen, we will select our own jar file. So click on next. See here, this time you don't want to go with the default one. You can select this existing template, right? Go to the desktop. So this is our domain name, right? Click on next. And which is already there, that one. I'm just entering the other name. Click on next. No need to configure anything here. Click on next. Click on next. Click on next and click on create button. Create the domain, right? So 4 methods we have completed, and the 5th method we may have that, what is that called, WLST. WLST, which requires some syntaxes and requires some theory to understand that method. So that part we will be able to discuss in the WLST, right? So in the sense, domain configuration we have completed. And what are the domain restrictions actually? Interview question. What are the domain restrictions? Understood? See, each domain requires its own administration server to perform the management activities. There is one restriction. One domain have only one administration server. So whatever the servers you are created under this domain, all servers should be run with the same version of the WebLogic server software. So whatever you created the server, and whenever you want to add those servers into the cluster, all from the same domain only. Different servers, you cannot get the servers from the different. All servers you will get from the same domain, and which needs to be added into the cluster. And you can create the multiple domains, but each domain requires its own administration server. Understood? All those are the restrictions about the domain. So what I need to do, I have completed that installation part. I don't know whether it was installed successful or not. How I can able to come to know? I can able to start the server, admin server, and I can able to test. So by using this URL, http colon host name colon port number slash console. So this is the syntax. Example in our case, http colon host name, in the sense local host, right? We gave you localhost colon 8001 slash console. While you are creating the admin server, you gave you these details only, right? Once you are able to access this URL, and you are able to succeed for creating the domain. For start the domain, where I need to go actually, go to this path, under this path, okay? So here I have start weblogic.sh dot slash start weblogic.sh. I'm just entering. Once it is coming into the running mode means you have done your configuration successfully, right? Right, which comes into the running mode, right? See here it is going to be telling what is your listening 8001, right? Go to the application for accessing internet is doesn't require. We just launch the browser, okay? I just launched the browser and go to the browser and you have to be type this URL http colon doesn't need any internet connection. We just accessing that application by running. Go to here http colon localhost colon what is my port number 801, right? I'm just enter. See you're able to accessing, right? So what is the username and password you gave you at the time of configuring the domain? WebLogic and WebLogic 1 I gave you, right? So you have to be remember while you are configuring what is the username and password he gave you, and you have log into this admin console. Hello. So once you log in successfully in the sense you have done the installation successful, which means you have completed the basic part completely, right? So I'm just stopping here today. Tomorrow what I need to see, so what is the admin console capabilities, then after that how to configure the manager servers, how to start the admin and manager servers, and what are the ways do you have, then what is the WebLogic server life cycle, right? So what is the manager server independence mode, then what happens when admin server goes down, right? What is the configuration management that we will able to see. Then after that let's we see the startup and shutdown scripts. Tomorrow's plan is that is, right? And you just practice it. So day by day the subject is going to be complete and you have to be practice it, okay? And do the practice. And I told you already next week I will give the resume to you people, okay? You have to be practice it and be in time. I'm just requesting to you people, be in time. If you are in time, so I can discuss more subject, okay? For 10 days only, for 10 days, about 10 days you have to be managed with your timings after completing this class, and you can able to go your own activities, okay? Just 10 days, clear, right? See, and regarding that steps, and don't worry, you just do the practice now for time being. After completing all the things, I already have the material which is I prepared by me in the step by step, okay? Even whatever I have done till now, so the installation part, so I will give the video recordings, and as well as simultaneously I prepare the material which will go through that every screen by screen, okay? So even for silent mode, every method, right? One by one, topic wise, I will forward this material end of this week, okay? Clear, right? So in the sense regarding the theory also, you don't bother about whatever I'm trying to give the knowledge to you people here. You just go through that knowledge. That is more than enough. How much experience you want to, you can keep it, 8 or 9 or 10 years, because there it is going there it is that is some basic things like that. 8 years 7 years is minimum required for keeping the experience, I guess. So that is whatever I'm telling to you people, more than enough. You just concentrated on each area, uh, no need to think about anything, okay? All right, so we'll meet tomorrow at same time 6:30, and thanks for joining today, and we'll meet tomorrow at same time. Bye.